Most people go through life believing a strange and simple lie, that other people make them angry. We live under the illusion that the world outside, with all its noise, its nonsense, and its rude behavior, somehow creeps inside us and shakes our inner calm. You think the rude driver or the critical friend is taking your peace away. But let's look at this closely. That belief is like blaming a mirror for the upset look on your own face. The mirror isn't the problem. It's just showing you what's already there. The deep truth is this: nobody can bother you. They can only touch the part of you that is already disturbed. They can only poke at a wound that hasn't finished healing. If there were no disturbance inside you, their actions would simply pass by without effect. And here is the trap: the more you try to fight the feeling, the more you stiffen up and say, "I won't let them bother me," the more tangled you become in the very thing you are trying to escape. Fighting an irritation only gives it more power. Peace doesn't come by fighting against life. It comes by realizing there is nothing to fight or defend in the first place. Think about the ocean. The waves rise and fall all the time. Sometimes they are huge and loud, like a storm. But the ocean itself never minds. It is so big and deep that the waves don't change its fundamental nature. In the same way, anger, irritation, and frustration are just like waves. They come and they go. They are part of the weather of your mind. But they are not you. To be truly unbothered is not about trying to build a thick, tall wall around yourself to keep the world out. It's about seeing that there was never a small, separate self to defend in the first place. When you realize you are vast like the ocean, a small wave of irritation can't destroy you. Think about what happens when something annoying occurs. Maybe a friend says a disrespectful word. Maybe you experience a sudden disappointment. Maybe a person interrupts you rudely when you are speaking. In that situation, there is a tiny instant before you react. Most people never notice this moment. They leap straight from the event, the rude word, to the response, anger, as quickly as a spark jumps from a piece of flint. And then they wonder why they feel burned and upset. They blame the flint, but they created the fire themselves. But in that small space, that fraction of a second before your mind begins to yell and complain, lies your freedom. That is the gap where life gives you the chance to wake up instead of simply react. The event itself is neutral. It has no meaning until you give it one. When someone calls you a fool, the insult only works if you agree with the label. It only causes pain if you believe in the fool they are talking to. If you don't, the words just vanish into thin air, like any other meaningless sound. You wouldn't get upset if someone yelled, "The sky is green." You would just think they were mistaken. An insult is the same thing, it's just a mistaken sound. So, the game is not about controlling what happens outside of you, because that is impossible. The game is about watching what happens inside of you and realizing, I don't have to pick that thought up. Anger only asks one thing of you: participation. It needs you to feed it your attention and your energy. The moment you stop playing the game, the anger, having nothing to feed on, dies of neglect. To react less is not a sign of weakness. It is actually the highest form of intelligence. It means you have remembered that you were never the puppet dancing on someone else's strings. You are the one holding the strings. One of the greatest sources of human unhappiness is the quiet, hidden expectation that other people should know better. We spend an amazing amount of time waiting for the world to behave logically and sensibly, as if everyone else secretly agreed to follow the rule book you wrote for them. But, of course, they didn't. They never signed your invisible contract that says, you must be on time, or you must agree with me, or you must be polite. They are simply playing their own game, completely unaware that you expected them to dance to your music. And when they don't, when they lie, forget, interrupt, or disappoint you, we feel offended. We feel as though the universe itself has made some terrible, personal mistake against us. Yet, it hasn't. That feeling of offense is just your mind insisting, they shouldn't be like that, but they are. They are late. They are rude. They are different. Expecting people to act like you want them to is like expecting a cat to bark because you're in the mood for a dog. You will only get frustration. When you finally give up demanding harmony and perfection from the world, you can start to laugh at how seriously you once took everyone else's behavior. And laughter, you see, is the sound of freedom returning. It's the sound of the pressure gauge releasing. Once you stop expecting people to behave like you, Another important realization quietly dawns. You also stop needing them to agree with you. Because disagreement, when you look at it clearly, is just diversity in disguise. The same life force that makes trees grow crooked and mountains grow tall makes human minds grow in different, often opposing directions. It is silly to demand that everyone see the world through your eyes when their windows open onto entirely different skies and different backgrounds. Most of our suffering begins right here. Not in what people do, but in our desperate urge to make them see it our way. So before we can ever find peace with others, we must loosen our grip on this idea of being right. This little mental badge we polish and wear upon the chest of me, we are terribly concerned. With being right, it's one of our favorite addictions. It's the sweet, temporary intoxication of certainty. We argue, we defend, we spend hours in our heads protecting this fragile little castle called my opinion. But what if being right isn't the point at all? What if life isn't a debate to be won, but a dance to be enjoyed? Notice this: every time you must be right, someone else must be wrong. And so, the world instantly divides itself neatly into enemies and fools. All of these enemies and fools are invented by your simple, internal need to feel secure by being right. The truth doesn't belong to anyone. It plays hide and seek through all of us. And the moment you stop chasing it, it comes and sits quietly beside you. When you drop the obsession with being right, you begin to listen. Not listening to prepare a counter-argument, but listening to truly hear and understand. You find that peace isn't born from victory. It comes when there's no longer anything to defend. There is no one inside who is afraid of being wrong. So let others cling to their certainties. Let them win the argument. Because the one who no longer needs to win has already found the only thing worth keeping, their peace. And when you no longer need to be right, you'll notice something quite extraordinary. Other people's opinions about you begin to lose their gravity. For so long, our sense of being right was tied to our sense of being somebody. And when that somebody feels threatened, even the gentlest disagreement sounds like thunder. But once you stop defending an image of yourself, the thunder becomes only noise, and the sky remains perfectly clear. You realize that what people say about you is simply an echo of their own mind, a reflection bouncing off their own glass. If you mistake that reflection for your face, you will spend your entire life trying to polish someone else's dirty mirror. It's curious how much power we give to sound. Someone speaks a few vibrations through the air, a sentence, a label, a careless remark, and suddenly your entire sense of self begins to shake. You take their words, wear them like permanent tattoos, and then wonder why you feel marked and damaged. But tell me, what exactly is being wounded? The sound passes. The air settles. And all that remains is your idea of what the words meant. The insult doesn't live in their mouth. It lives in your memory. When someone says you're foolish, that statement doesn't describe you. It describes their vision, their mood, their moment. Why should you let their passing, whether become your permanent climate? To depend on another person's praise or blame is to hang your heart on a wind chime. Every tiny breeze becomes a major storm. Freedom begins when you realize that nothing anyone says about you has anything to do with who you actually are. Because who you are is not an opinion. It's the silence before every word. And silence, thank God, cannot be offended. Now, this doesn't mean you must let everyone stomp through your life while you sit smiling in eternal bliss. No. Love without intelligence becomes sentimentality, fake niceness. And peace without clarity becomes passivity, just letting things happen. Protecting your energy isn't about building big, heavy walls. It's about knowing where your private garden ends and the messy, wild forest begins. You can welcome visitors, but you don't have to let them set up a permanent camp on your soul. Most people confuse kindness with compliance. They think that to be a good person is to say yes to everything, to be endlessly available, endlessly forgiving, endlessly exhausted. But even the sun sets every day. And even the powerful ocean withdraws from the shore sometimes. Boundaries are not barriers. They are expressions of balance. When you say no, you're not rejecting the other person. You are simply honoring the rhythm of your own being. Because if you give when you are already empty, you are not offering love. You are offering resentment dressed up as kindness. It's funny, when you finally stop overextending yourself, you discover that life doesn't fall apart. It simply rearranges itself around your peace. And peace, unlike exhaustion, doesn't need to be earned. So protect your energy not by closing your heart, but by staying rooted in yourself. Be like a tree that bends with the wind, but never forgets where it stands. When you no longer feel the need to defend an image of yourself, you find that silence begins to speak for you. This is not the silence of avoidance or ignoring things. It's the silence that comes when there's simply nothing left that needs to be said. Most people imagine strength as volume, as aggressive assertion, as a firm voice that must be heard over others. But real strength often sounds like nothing at all. Because truth doesn't argue. It just is. When someone throws anger at you, what happens if you don't throw it back? It falls to the ground like a stone that has lost its target. It has no energy to keep moving. And in that quiet space, something extraordinary occurs. Their fury begins to echo only in their own mind, while yours remains still, like a pond completely untouched by the wind. Silence is not a retreat. It's a refusal to participate in madness. It's not submission. It's sovereignty, being the ruler of your own mind. It's saying, without using any words, I will not be drafted into your emotional war. When you stop reacting, the world reveals its true pace. Slow, rhythmic, almost musical. You find that you don't have to win arguments or prove points. You simply have to be still enough to hear life humming beneath the noise. That hum, that quiet background of existence, is what people spend lifetimes chasing without realizing it has been humming through them all along. When you no longer rush to defend or explain yourself, you begin to see something very curious about other people. They are mirrors, not obstacles. Every irritation, every insult, every criticism you receive, it's just life holding up a reflection of your own unfinished business. It's showing you the parts of yourself that are still insecure or holding on to pain. That's why certain rude remarks sting and hurt, while others just pass like wind. The sting only finds what's already tender and sensitive inside you. So instead of blaming the person who delivered the message, look at what they've touched inside you. You may find that the world isn't against you at all. It's simply showing you exactly where you still hold resistance. The people who bother you the most are often your best teachers in disguise. They reveal the exact spot where you are not yet free. And once you see this, you stop taking things so personally. The moment someone tries to provoke you, you almost want to thank them. Not because you enjoy the jab, but because they've helped you spot another knot you can now untie. That's the secret. People lose their power to bother you the instant you realize they were never enemies. They were only mirrors polishing you back to clarity. Once you begin to see others as mirrors, something softer begins to unfold inside you. You stop needing the reflection altogether. You no longer cling to the role of the one who must learn, or the one who must be calm, or even the one who must not be bothered, because all of those are still just little masks. They are still the small self trying to fix the bigger self. Letting go isn't something you do. It's what happens when you stop holding on. Just as the hand releases a stone when it grows tired of grasping, the heart releases its burdens when it grows tired of pretending to control everything. Anger, resentment, and hurt are just the mind way of saying, I haven't yet accepted what already is. But when you finally see the uselessness of resistance, when you stop demanding life to be polite, fair, or easy, it becomes beautifully simple. People say what they say. The world moves as it moves. And you remain undisturbed, like the vast sky behind all the weather. To let go is not to forget, nor to forgive in any formal sense. It's to wake up and realize there's nothing to forgive because there was never anyone separate to offend in the first place. The play goes on. The actors shout their lines. And you, at last, can sit in the audience smiling, knowing it was all a theater performance from the very beginning. And in that smile, you discover the secret you were chasing all along. Nothing and no one can bother you when you've stopped mistaking the play for real life.